It's unregulated and dangerous, employing tens of thousands of people above and below ground. In the past week alone, several areas around Joburg have reported shootings involving zamas.
Illegal artisanal mining is described as a threat to the economy and the state. But what impact is it having beyond the obvious economic cost? What about our city's key infrastructure? In our two-part special, Lorenza ventures underground to find out.
It's said an army marches on its stomach.
So we've got an informal bush kitchen that's going on here.
Here, the skin and hooves from livestock slaughtered nearby are burnt, washed and softened for sale as delicacies to the immigrant West African market. The fires are fueled not by wood or charcoal, but by burning tires. It cloaks the area in toxic black smoke, a post-apocalyptic scene.
So it's not just the smell of the rotting flesh that catches you, it's the smell of the tire fires as well. It takes your breath away.
While not a conventional war, the meat cooked on open flames provides sustenance to the foot soldiers on one side of a growing conflict. Illegal artisanal miners or zamas.
It is destroying infrastructure, roads, water, electricity, sewage. The amount of money that changes hands from the guys on the ground to the very top, it's millions.
When reporting on illegal mining, it's advisable to be accompanied by armed security, a sign of how this conflict has progressed. This barren wasteland was once the center of the country's gold rush, now a haphazard front line in a standoff between zamas, government, the police, private security firms, and sometimes the public.
There are an estimated 40,000 to 75,000 zamas or illegal artisanal miners working along a stretch of 150 kilometers east from west. It's an ellipse with a circumference of 300 kilometers where tons of gold gets extracted and processed every day.
When an explosion destroyed a section of road in Joburg's inner city 2 months ago, fingers immediately pointed to illegal mining. The cause was later identified as an underground gas leak. Questions lingered about the impact of zamas on key infrastructure. That's the story we set out to tell. But so complex has illegal mining become that we ventured in unexpected directions, finding ourselves in a dark world, alien to our own, yet one that exists right beneath our feet. We're at the very edge of downtown Joburg, alongside the M2 motorway. It seems odd to be pulling on a flak jacket, But we're told the area is volatile and the zamas are generally armed.
Do you think South Africans would be shocked to know how many zamas are active in the area?
I think so, yes. It's completely turned upside down. It's unregulated. These guys have access to high-powered rifles, explosives. They've got access to resources that only mines back in the day had access to.
𝗀𝗶𝗶𝗶𝗶 and 𝗀𝗰𝗁cie van Rensburg work for mining companies trying to protect their remaining operations from the zama threat.
Yo, it's deep, huh?
Yeah, it's deep. Active tunneling system.
And the kind of weapons that they use?
It's military grade, mil-spec, AK-47s, SKS rifles, R5 rifles, Kalashnikovs. So it's clearly a well-funded operation.
A 𝗀𝗬𝗃 is a Russian-made, large-caliber anti-aircraft gun. One bullet can rip off a limb. Kalashnikovs, or AK-47s, are the rifle of choice.
So there's a crack there. They're also getting bags piled up there.
Daar's 'n zama daarna.
So just stay behind me.
Gaan hulle nie nou voel ons ambush hulle?
Despite how they might feel about our presence, we're not here to interrogate the zamas. Marius wants to show us what remains of the area's industrial mining past.
So this is a ventilation shaft. From the old mines, it used to be a... It also used to be a circular, vertical shaft that goes down here.
If the city's infrastructure, including gas and water supply, is under threat, it's via these old shafts and the labyrinth of tunnels dug by the zamas themselves.
Op iemand gevlieg vir jou.
Ja.
Was ou net hier.
We're being watched, while spotters keep an eye on us above ground.
They're walking there.
Those working below listen to the footfall and alert each other by whistling.
Guys, just check, there's 3 of them carrying pistols. Down here.
It seems we're not the only ones looking into the impact of illegal mining on infrastructure. Rand Water, which counts Gauteng's biggest metros and industries among its customers, is here too. The zamas tunneling is damaging municipal utilities, causing leaks and outages. Gold was discovered on the Witwatersrand in 1886. In scenes not unlike what we're seeing today, thousands descended on the area hoping to find their fortune. It transformed Joburg into the country's economic epicenter. Many of the mines have now closed, but underground, evidence of the gold boom remains. Kilometre upon kilometre of abandoned shafts crisscrossed by a network of tunnels, sewers and subsurface infrastructure like electricity and gas lines. It's why Joburg's described as a city built on honeycomb, supported by pillars of rock filled with holes. Alarmingly, the zamas are chipping away at the support structures. While Rand Water's team continues its survey, we comb the area now abandoned by the zamas.
What we found was this pan on an open fire with soil. It's one of the last steps in the refining process. After this, it'll be placed through a cloth with impurities removed to produce gold.
Stacked in a row are white sacks filled with gold-rich sand to be sold to nearby refineries. These are the spoils of the lawlessness unfolding above and below ground. The reason infrastructure in downtown Joburg, including the M2, factories and offices are under threat. Also at risk are several low-cost housing projects planned to the east and west of the city.
So what we see here, the tunnel structure, how many of these would I find if I move towards that side?
100.
Same kind of infrastructure.
Same kind of infrastructure, rural.
Yeah. Those guys took the gold. Let's go.
Okay.
I will take lead.
A rise in tensions apparently caused by the presence of the Rand Water team brings an abrupt halt to our conversation. Advised to leave, our plan to venture into the tunnels is put on hold.
So we're just withdrawing from here.
Coming up in part 2, after a faltering start, we head below ground into a world where illegal mining and petty criminality intersect. And amid escalating war talk, security agencies up the ante.
Before the break, Lorenzo joined a specialized security team scouring areas around Joburg overrun by zamas. It's clear they're having a significant impact on the city's infrastructure.
It's hard to establish the full extent of that impact, but in part 2 of our special, it's clear that as illegal artisanal miners tunnel ever closer to the surface, key infrastructure is at risk.
We're investigating the impact of illegal mining on Joburg's infrastructure. There are as many as 75,000 zamas operating in an area of the Highveld stretching about 150 kilometers from east to west. And as they work, they dig.
Okay, move.
We'd hope to venture into the zamas tunnels at a site right next to the M2 motorway and downtown Joburg. Rising tensions scuppered our plans.
Hello, Gerda.
Hoi, aangenaam.
Gerda Lourens used to be with the police, but is now part of a private task team fighting crime above and below ground. She's taking us into the city's sewer system through an entrance less than a few kilometers from the CBD. It's a place where the criminality Joburg is notorious for collides with the zamas.
Whilst you are walking along the wall mark, then you know where you're at. If you turn around,
Find your way back.
find your way back, yes.
Okay.
As you can see, it's extremely dark. If you don't know what's going on, you wouldn't know where you are going.
Criminals use these tunnels to disappear after smash and grabs, robberies and hijackings. And in places, there's evidence of the zamas breaking through from old mining shafts. It begs the question, what impact might they be having on other infrastructure like water and gas lines?
Do you know where this tunnel leads to?
This tunnel leads into town, 𝗀𝗁𝗁, that side, and then it will go to the right, towards SABC, that side. That's where we're going to end up. Yes? You okay?
Yeah. Okay. Oh, wow.
It's a manhole.
So someone committed a crime. They'd be down here within seconds.
Seconds,
and they
in or
disappear.
out, whether they committed here or somewhere down the line where we're coming from. This leads up to a different suburb, maybe.
And again, evidence of the illegal mining happening all around us.
Do you recognize this bag?
Oh, yes, that's the zama bag. Streepsak.
Streepsak, yeah.
I recognize that.
Production of Ethiopia.
It's a putrid, claustrophobic network providing access to and cover from the city above.
Look, and this wasn't here when we passed earlier.
It's a pair of keys.
It's a pair of keys. Might have been a smash and grab. Might have been a bag that's been snatched.
How far do you think we've walked so far? More than a kilometer?
I think about 3.
After having walked 3 kilometers in pitch darkness, I'm very happy to finally see some natural light.
Back above ground, We travel just south of Joburg to 𝗀𝗵𝗶𝘀 Road, just off the M2 motorway. We're accompanied by 𝗀𝗰𝗁𝗶𝗃𝗏𝗏 and 𝗀𝗁𝘁cie van Rensburg, who provide security to mining companies. Now closed, the road is the site of an extensive zama operation.
So when we drove up here, it looked like empty veld, but I walked around this area of about 100 meters and I counted more than 21 shafts. It's truly frightening.
It's a treacherous landscape of disused shafts and new tunnels. Vertical shafts can be hundreds of meters deep and are accessed via ropes and cables. So-called incline shafts, like this one, provide walk or crawl-in spaces.
Yeah, just take note that the actual road is on top of you.
The zamas work from around 4 meters below the surface to as deep as 100 meters. They're nowhere to be seen, but we find evidence of their handiwork.
4 grams.
What is this worth?
This will be about, in total value, about 10k plus.
10,000 rand
Yes.
in these buckets.
In this bucket.
In this confined, suffocating space, we find evidence showing the zamas spent days, perhaps even weeks, down here.
So there's a tunnel going down there as well.
Down here.
So they can go that way or this way.
And alongside the tunnel is a stormwater drain running into Joburg's underground infrastructure. A vast, interconnected network imperiled by illegal mining.
Those zamas terrorizing our communities, we will put this to an end.
Fighting talk from President 𝗀𝗵𝗶𝘆. But more than a year since this speech, illegal mining is showing little sign of ending. There are indications, though, that the screws are tightening. In recent weeks, there's been an apparent surge in multi-agency operations targeting zamas. Few pass by without at least some political posturing.
We're going to fight fire by fire because we cannot find a situation where we are law enforcement and these here are shooting our people.
This operation is happening in 𝗀𝗏𝗃𝗏, west of Joburg, another area favored for illegal mining.
Go! Check tunnel.
Marius and 𝗀𝗁𝗁𝗏, who've provided our security, are invited to join the Metro Police and other personnel taking part.
Come! Now let him come here! Come here!
The zamas scatter, some running away, others fleeing underground.
Check it out! Come here! Yes!
A 𝗀𝗵𝗶𝘆 member fires stun grenades down a tunnel stretching several hundred meters underground. In the chaos, it's unclear why he fired. The zamas they were pursuing escape. But several are arrested above ground. Elsewhere, the operation continues.
Here's another balloon. Another balloon here.
So this is an old abandoned mining house, but this is where many of the zamas live. In this house, we found explosives, a water pump, buckets, and various other mining paraphernalia that they would use in their illegal mining endeavors.
When you consider the tens of thousands of zamas plying their trade, it's hard to know what constitutes a policing success. The ramshackle camps are destroyed, bags of gold-bearing sand, mining equipment and dangerous explosives confiscated.
So what will you do? Where's your phone? I don't have a phone. Me have a hand up.
The damage, though, has already been done. The ground here has been disrupted and requires extensive rehabilitation to stabilize it. So while major structures in the city centre will likely be unaffected, development of the area stretching along the reef is under threat. Like the West Rand and downtown Joburg, suburbs to the east of the city are battling a surge in illegal mining. These decommissioned shafts, their seals broken by the zamas, are active once more. With the sun setting, we stumble on a letter from the Department of Minerals and Energy in a veld outside Springs.
It says this hole is a danger to public safety. We intend to close this hole. You are hereby notified that all illegal mining activity is to stop immediately. And it's in English, Portuguese and Sotho, as far as I can tell.
It's hard to see the letter having an effect, but it underlines the mounting concern over illegal mining, not only because of security and economic concerns, but also the impact on infrastructure. We have taste of the latter, but as the zamas dig ever closer to the surface, have we seen the worst of it?
Do you think it's too late to try and stop it?
They can stop. They don't have to stop. It's unregulated. The amount of money that changes hands here, it's out of control.
Thanks for watching. Why not drop us a comment below? We love reading your opinions. Remember, you can now access Carte Blanche stories anytime, anywhere, even offline. Carte Blanche, the podcast, is now available on all major podcast platforms. So be sure to hit that follow or subscribe button and be part of our growing online family.